Hi everyone. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who is the former DNC chair and a congresswoman from Florida, or for one of the districts in Florida, is a vile woman. She's awful. She is the epitome of everything that is wrong with American politics, and especially the epitome of everything that is wrong in the Democratic Party. In 2016, she was primaried by this guy, Tim Canova, who ran her very close, and she somehow won, and he suspected fair play. So his campaign launched a court case to try and get a recount of the ballots. And after they had had notification of that court case, Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the DNC destroyed the ballots after the court case was put forward to them. So they're destroying evidence here. She's still in, and she's up for re-election again this year. She's an awful woman. Awful, awful woman. This time, though, Tim Canova is going to run as an independent against her, so she can't rig the primary against him. She can't rig the Democratic primary against him because he's running as an independent and he's going for it in November. Okay? She's awful. She's terrible. Honestly, I cannot say enough bad things about her. These are two of her latest tweets. Yesterday, Senator Bill Nelson and I were detained entry to a South Florida facility that is holding nearly 100 kids who have been separated from their parents. They won't show us a single picture of a young girl inside any of these facilities. They know what they're doing is wrong. She also said the day before that the American people deserve to see the cruel way the Trump administration is treating children. You can see there's a little clip from a news agency, a local news agency, of her grandstanding outside saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm a great senator, I'm fantastic." And she's obviously standing up here for the fact that, you know, these kids in America are being crossing the border and being held in detention centers. It's awful. It really is. It's awful. Snatched from their families and taken from their families and saying, "Don't worry, we just take them for a bath," and then they don't see them for 2 or 3 weeks. You know, that's Nazi Germany level stuff. Let's face it. And obviously she's standing up. She's coming out against it, which, more power to her, you know, more power to her. Except this is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And I remember a couple of years ago when she was in a debate with Tim Canova. It's one of the first things I watched when I became interested in American politics. And they talked about, well, just watch this clip. Just watch this clip. This is wonderful.
And they know that they can count on me and that I've had their back.
One of the issues that your opponent has raised was your support in 2011. And I think we have actually the letter that you and Senator Bill Nelson signed supporting the for-profit prison to be built in Southwest Ranches. Was that support in 2011 a mistake?
First of all, let's be clear on what that center was. That was an immigration detention center. It was not a prison.
Well, what do you know? She's in support of the for-profit prison, the for-profit prisons and the for-profit detention centers. She's one of the congresswomen for Florida. She's overseen this. She's awful. Just awful. She takes money off these people, then lets them open these places up. She takes money. She takes money. One of her largest donors are from the payday loan people who charge the poorest people in America exorbitant rates of APR. Make them even more poor. She's for it. This was just 2 years ago. Oh, she's awful. She's awful. I think it was 2 years ago anyway. It might have been a little bit further back than that. I seem to remember it was 2016. But, oh, she's awful. Just awful. And just listen to the way she stammers and she stutters all the way through this when she's, you know, somebody actually says, "Oh, well, here's some evidence that you did some bad stuff." I'll let this continue a little bit.
And so I know but there's a big difference between an immigration detention center and a prison. There are prisons all the
But
way
it was
out
a
west.
for-profit entity that was going to run it.
That was actually sought by the town of Southwest Ranches. The town of Southwest Ranches supported and made the arrangements with that company to locate a immigration detention center. They had an agreement with ICE and with...
So you can see there she's on the back foot. She's desperately defending. And just look at Tim Canova's face. Look at He's like, no, keep digging. Keep digging. I'm loving this. It's brilliant. She stutters and stammers all the way through this. It's hilarious. She's awful.
With the company that was going to build
You then
that
later
center.
came out opposed to it, correct?
Let me be clear. I was doing what I always do, which is when I have a municipality come to me and ask me for my help. You know, of course, we take a look at that issue very carefully, and we do what we can to facilitate their request.
Was it a mistake to send that letter, in hindsight?
No, it wasn't a mistake.
So it wasn't a mistake. She doesn't think it was a mistake to send the letter endorsing this for-profit detention centre that now she's having to rail against because she's worried that she's going to lose an election this November. Let's let it carry on a little bit because I want to get to Tim Canova's response.
To be able to try to assist. This was an important economic driver. Southwest Ranches, let's keep in mind, has almost no commercial tax base. They only have about 7,000 people that live in Southwest Ranches, and so this was an opportunity for them to be able to generate revenue and also have a low impact.
I need to bring in.
So you can see there she stuttered and she stammered all the way through it, and now she's coming out against these detention centres because, you know, it's politically charged at the moment, so I'll change my position. It's pathetic. Now listen to a real politician. Now listen to somebody with integrity. Now listen to somebody and watch how when he comes out, she instantly agrees with him, even though she's been letting these places open and now they're detaining children. Just listen to Tim's response.
And then we need to take a break. Go ahead.
I would like to.
A low-impact facility like a detention
let me bring him in.
center, which
Would
is not
could I
going
get
to
him-
house criminals.
Let me bring him in. Go
Let's
ahead.
make
I would
sure
like
we
to
understand
get
that.
a word in edgewise at
Go
this
ahead.
point. It was a bad decision, and for-profit prisons and for-profit detention centers are not a good idea. Florida
You're right. They are.
Florida leads the
You're
country
absolutely
in
right.
for-profit detention centers and prisons.
She says they're a bad idea, and she says you're right. So why are you writing letters to endorse them and open them? And now you're coming out and doing tweets like this. She's just a despicable woman, and she stands for nothing apart from the Democratic Party and everything that's wrong in politics in America. She's awful. Tim Canova needs... he needs to beat her so bad. Not just for Florida, not just for their district, but not just for politics in America. Because somebody like that beating such a big name like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, all of a sudden then the media can't ignore people like Tim Canova. They won't be able to ignore people. For instance, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is running in New York's 14th district. She's brilliant. She's running against Joe Crowley. And at the moment he is running adverts almost 24/7 because she is a real threat to him. And we need somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I say we, I'm in the UK, but I'm sort of invested in this. We need somebody like that to win, to knock off somebody like Joe Crowley. We need somebody like Tim Canova to knock off a big name like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's just awful and vile and everything that's wrong with Democrats and everything that's wrong with politics in America. Because then the media have to take notice of progressive candidates. Then they will stand up and take notice. They've just been ignoring them so far, apart from, I think, Chris Hayes talked about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I know he retweeted a few of her bits, so he's probably done a segment. But other than that, nothing on progressive candidates. Nothing at all. All they care about is how much money they raise. That's all they care about. So we need somebody like Tim Canova to beat this awful, vile, despicable woman. We need somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to beat somebody like Joe Crowley. Because if they don't, it's really worrying that this sort of progressive movement and in America to take back, you know, their democracy in a way from these oligarchs and these paid shills that are literally, they're there at the moment. All people like Joe Crowley are there. They're not there for the people. Debbie Wasserman Schultz isn't there for the people. You know, all she cares about is her party and her money. That's all they care about. They don't care about the people. Tim Canova does. And I really, really hope he wins. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and please click the bell down there so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. Otherwise, YouTube will hide the video from you. Yes, they have admitted that they do that. Also, we're facing an absolute onslaught in independent media from the establishment at the moment, including YouTube. I don't make any money from YouTube whatsoever. I rely totally on the audience for me to continue doing this. So if you can afford to send me $2, $3, $5, whatever it is that you can afford through Patreon, again, the link is down there, I will be eternally grateful, and it'll allow me to keep giving you the truth and cut through the propaganda and the BS that we get from the corporate and establishment media. If you can't afford to do it, please share the video as wide as you can. Talk to your friends and family about the issues that I and other channels on YouTube who are independent raise. Thanks very much for your support. We have to fight back against this. Till next time, peace and take care.